otherwise known as CadChica, and this is my Tuesday 10. It's my first Google Plus Hangout that I am shooting for starting this year. I've been kind of monitoring Google Plus over the last month or so, and I see the potential with it in sports business, sports social media, and I wanted to just kind of start out slow. A quick 10-minute chat with some of my friends in the business that I've met mostly through Twitter or LinkedIn or Google Plus or Facebook or wherever. And I decided to start with my guinea pig, my friend, drumroll if I could say his name right, Tariq Ahmad. Tariq, can you introduce yourself?
Hey, Sonny. Thank you for having me. As Sonny mentioned, I'm Tariq. Currently, I'm a social media business manager for IBM. In relation to sports, I do have a sports background. I have a PhD in sport administration. My PhD doctoral research was on social media in the NBA, so I interviewed a handful of NBA teams on how they implement, manage, and evaluate social media strategies. Also created a site called Sport Shadow, which tracks Foursquare and Facebook check-ins at various sports venues. Also created the SMsports hashtag on Twitter, which is coming up on its 3-year anniversary this March. Has about 52,000 tweets on it and counting, so very grateful for the growth of the community. And also host SM Sports Chat, which is a weekly social media and sports chat every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So that's a little bit of me in a nutshell.
Well, thank you, Tariq. I'm going to have to keep reminding myself how to say that. I've said it every which way but the right one up until now. But I think it's through the hashtag that you and I had actually met, because I was searching for sports social media, and I think it was a couple years ago now. I think I saw the SM Sports hashtag in your bio or something when I was doing a search of people to follow, and I think that's how we first met, was through your hashtag.
I believe so, yeah, because I think we followed each other, I know, for well over a year. You're probably right, it may be closer to 2 years now, but I believe that's where the connection came.
Now, you have a PhD, and I do not, but I think we've learned so much from each other, and that's what's been the beauty of social media, is that it doesn't matter necessarily your background. It's just exchanging ideas and asking each other questions. How did the actual SM Sports chat come about?
So the chat came about with myself and Caleb Mezzi, who is one of my colleagues and one of my friends as well. He had actually had the idea that said, hey, we should do a chat based off social media and sports. So December 15th, 2011 was actually the first chat that he ran. I helped him out a little bit with it, and then after a few weeks, I helped him co-host it. Naturally, with any chat, it started out slow, then you pick up more traffic, you get more people to it, and then thankfully it just started snowballing or avalanching in the right way, thankfully, to where it is today. So, it started out slow. Big thank you to Caleb for helping out with that as well, and big thank you to everybody who participates in the chat on a weekly basis.
Your background was location-based services. It seems like over the last year, maybe it's even more, and maybe it's just me because I'm on Twitter so much, but it seems like Foursquare and any other location-based apps have kind of taken a background to Facebook and Twitter. I mean, you can check in on Facebook. Is that your perception, or do you see them still as strong as they used to be, or do you see them making a comeback at all?
It's a really good question. I think the key with Facebook is that whenever you check in on Facebook, with Foursquare, it's actually a separate app. So if you go to Foursquare, you're going to Foursquare to check in. With Facebook, there's already the check-in feature on Facebook. So if people are already on Facebook on their phones at a game, they're more likely to check in. And then even through Sports Shadow data that we view, my brother and I created the site, so we look at the data. Easily, Facebook check-ins outnumber Foursquare check-ins easily on an average of 3-to-1. It's probably actually a lot more than that, but 3-to-1 is a very conservative estimate. So if there's 250 Foursquare check-ins at a venue, there's easily generally at least 750 Facebook check-ins because of that. So, in terms of a comeback, I don't really, it's really hard to say, especially given sports and given, so few teams actually offer deals on location-based services. The Golden State Warriors actually offer a deal on with every home game check-in on Facebook Places, which is really nice. So props to Kevin Cote, Julie Fayer, and the team for that. But I think the key is a couple of things. One, Wi-Fi within the stadium is the big issue. So, if people aren't able to get Wi-Fi, they're not able to check in. And then two, I think people really want some sort of value add. Like, okay, I'm checking in. You need to give me something for checking in. So at first, when LBS was first big in 2009, 2010, it was really, hey, check me out. I'm at Madison Square Garden, and you're not, so I'm cool and you're not. Now it's more like, yeah, maybe I'll still check in, but now I really need something, I really need a reason to check in. So, and again, as mentioned, so few teams actually offer any kind of rewards for checking in that you will see a little bit start to wane. Now, I know one last point that this was 2 years ago, so Facebook and Foursquare both said that airports are the #1 most checked-in place on both platforms, and sports venues are the #2 most checked-in venues on each of the platforms. So I think it comes down to a couple things. One, it's the infrequency. Like, people don't travel to airports every day, and people don't go to sports venues every day. So they're more likely to check in there as opposed to a Starbucks or a Macy's, etc. And then two, again, as mentioned, it's more of a status. Like, hey, check me out. I'm at the game. You're not. Or, hey, check me out. I'm at the airport, which means I'm going somewhere, which means I'm cool, and you're not. So it does come down to a couple of things.
That's funny. Is that really kind of the mentality you think behind those? Is, hey, here I'm at this place, you're not. I mean, is that the mindset you think? I mean, I use it, but I mean, it's kind of infrequent, like you said.
Yeah, not for everybody. Some people like to. I do see a lot of that. You see a lot of people will just check into games or check into something really important. Where myself, I use it every day. I check in for work. I check in at the local convenience store. Some people, I like to see kind of a map of where I've been and where I go. So like every month on Foursquare, I look back and see the places I've been. Yeah, I may have checked into work 20 times, or I may have checked into Rite Aid 8 times. But to me, it's kind of cool to see that map of where I've been, even if it's just the most mundane things.
So then I need to go find you on Foursquare, and I can be a stalker and see where you've been, right?
That is correct. Should you choose to do so, this is now recorded on video, so we have witnesses of your stalker.
Oh yeah, you're on one end of the country, you're in New York, and I am in Eastern Washington. So I don't know how much stalking I can actually do.
You can. Foursquare has now made that possible for you to do that. So.
But if you're checking into Rite Aid 8 times, I don't know if I really want to stalk you there.
You never know. If you need something, if you need for me to pick up something,
Oh yeah, you're gonna pick it up and then you're gonna ship it to me, across the country. Is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So.
Okay. I know we both participated in Caleb's prediction post recently. Caleb Mezzi. I'm a big proponent of what's going to happen as far as Google Plus in sports, or actually just in social media, and I believe that there's things coming down the pipe that we don't even know yet with the current platforms that we have. Why don't you share with our audience what some of your predictions are, or what you'd like to see?
The one that I shared with Caleb is that big data is going to be a big play for sports and social media, especially this year, because big data seems to be the buzzword, especially in 2013. And now moving into 2014, you're going to have a lot of that going forward. Something I'd mentioned on his post was that NBA now has a feature, NBA.com/stats, which gives you stats, for I believe every single game in NBA history, which is pretty awesome, and it gives you the most minute, mundane details and stats as well. So I think the key with that is, like, you're either going to start seeing leagues monetize this, or B, you're going to have smaller companies, smaller startup companies will start building apps on top of all this massive amounts of data to where either coaches can access the data, fans can access it, athletes can access it. So I think the one point that I really made that I wanted to hit home on that is that I think it's Moneyball meets social media. So I really think you're going to start seeing companies really start leveraging this data for really important purposes. So instead of just, hey, let's look at the X's and O's, maybe you're going to start seeing, wow, this guy can do X, Y, Z really good, way better than anyone else in the league, and we can get him for cheap, so why don't we just pick this guy up? So I think that big data is going to be huge, and you're really going to start seeing a lot of teams, a lot of colleges, hopefully, and a lot of leagues start mining that data to improve the quality of teams and players in their games.
Cool. Well, Tariq, I thank you so much for being my guinea pig. Any last shout-outs or mentions or things that you want to point out or remind people of the time of the SMsports chat?
Sure. Well, big thank you to you, Sonny, for this. Big thank you for everyone who participates in SMsports, the hashtag, and the chat. Again, without the support of the community, without the support of everyone, I'd basically be talking to myself. So thank you for everybody who provides all the insight, all the knowledge, all the information. And as a reminder, as you had mentioned, SMsports chat every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So since Sonny is in Washington, that's 6 p.m. Pacific. And then you can figure out all the other time zones in the middle. So, but this was great. Thank you. Glad I could be host or guest number one. And look forward to coming back on again.
All right, thanks, Tariq, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully there will be an episode number 2, another Tuesday 10 with CadChica Sports. Thanks.